architects, barbers, even cosmetologists, entrepreneurship and knowledge, bringing all of this.
Hello and welcome to Beyond the Chairs. And today we have Kahil Sledge in the house. Welcome, Kahil.
Yes, pleasure.
Good to have you here.
Thanks for the invite.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. What you do? What do you do?
Wow. So I'm LA. I call it by way of Chicago and Texas. You know, my dad's from Chi-Town, my mom's from Texas. So I got the in-between, but I was here most of the time.
Okay.
Been in the barber business, styling 31 years.
Wow.
Started in the industry in the 90s.
Okay.
So anybody remember Immature, before it was B2K and Marcus Houston? So I started back then, Chris Stokes, and that's kind of where it got started. And you know.
So you was there barbers, you was?
Yeah, that was my first kind of real entertainment celebrity type industry experience back then. So,
Okay.
So yeah, I was there and, you know, kind of young, you know, I was still learning, didn't know a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of got out of it and just stayed cutting hair.
Oh, okay.
And then 2000.
So you used to travel with them, or you?
No, I actually started cutting one of his brothers, like Marcus Houston's brother, and then that's how I kind of got in with that. So I never traveled. I didn't start traveling and doing that type of stuff until after, when I got back in the industry in 2010, 11.
So you left after the 90s? You kind of left after
I just kind of fell off.
Okay.
Didn't really leave, it just happened.
Okay.
You know.
You had to reinvent yourself, maybe?
No, I always cut hair, just, you know, you just go through life and just kind of fall off.
Right.
I mean, I got, you know, I look back and I'm like, wow, I had the opportunity to do an album cover with them, and that's when we had pagers.
Yeah.
My pager was on the floor on vibrate, and I missed the call.
Oh, wow.
So I missed my opportunity for my first album cover back then.
Wow. What you say? You remember it because it was on the pager.
So, yeah, I mean, that's, you know, it's life. But you live and learn, and you got to keep pushing.
And
but
so,
over the time, I just cut.
Okay.
And I just, during that transition, I was like, I want to get back into the industry.
Uh-huh.
I just spoke it. I didn't really seek it out or anything. And I mean, I would say, well, let me rewind.
Mm-hmm.
So 2000, I got a guy I know who's film director. So he brought me in, working with him. So I did a lot of stuff, independent films.
Okay.
So like 3-6 Mafia, and that's like back when they were doing their thing. And
Right.
so I was like in the video, cutting on the video, doing the food and all kind of stuff. You know, just having fun. I was young, so still not that young, but you know, just, you know. But during that process, it was just like, you still about relationship. Like just this person, that person. You meet these people, find out what's going on, and they refer you. As long as you're good and keep your skill up.
Right.
So then I was like, I want to get back into the industry, and that's when one of my clients was like, hey, you know, Busta Rhymes need a haircut, and I was like, yeah, all right, whatever. Because I gotten calls, like, you know, you get calls, and they be like, oh yeah, so and so, and then they don't happen, and
like whatever, yeah.
Know? But what really pushed me was, I would say, back in 2000, really, like, I would say, yeah, it was 2000, I had an opportunity. I was working at Sprint.
Not cutting hair.
I was still cutting.
Oh, you still cutting?
I was always cutting. I just had jobs, and I never stopped cutting. A lot of people be like, oh, I've been cutting for 30 years, 20 years, but then I stopped for 10 years. No,
Right.
If it was 1, 2, I mean, I'd be working the job, cutting the bathroom if they needed it. You know, just keep it.
What you say? It's skill going. Just cut it.
Yeah, you got to keep the skill going, man. So, but I had an opportunity to. A guy I know to cut. This is right with Alicia Keys. Right before she won all those Grammys, they wanted me to cut her manager.
Okay.
And I was like, man, I don't know. Like, do I take a chance on my job, or do I see if this really happens? Like, and I couldn't get to work because the store was small, and I was like, my mom was like, you should have left. I was like, Mom, I was like, but long story short, they called. They was like, hey man, can you come to the hotel? And I was like, I'm at work.
Right.
So after that opportunity, I was like, man, I can't do this. I ended up quitting. I was like, man, I'm just gonna hone in.
Right. So you didn't end up cutting his hair?
No. What's crazy is I ended up meeting him years, like maybe couple years ago, through another client. And I told him about the story. He was like, I said, yeah, man. So you never know. You just got to keep yourself on the up, because things you never know will come back around.
Some of those opportunities could just pass you by before you know it, huh?
Yeah, so, but yeah, I got back in the industry in 2010, 11, and it's, you know.
So how did you start cutting Big Sean's hair? I know you.
Here we go with the magical question.
Sean.
Everybody wanna
know that.
That's the question I keep wondering, you know, I don't put out there, but so.
Well, people want to know.
The train. So going back to the story, so once I got the phone call from Buster, I thought it was, you know, I was like, yeah, it's all right, whatever. And my boy got us on three-way. My boy Jado, he's an artist. And it was Buster. And I was like, okay.
He referred you?
He was working with him, doing some music. So
okay.
Jado was one of the artists, you know, writer, songwriter. So he got us on three-way, and it was him. I was like, okay, it's really him. So I was like, okay. And
was you a little starstruck?
Not starstruck. It was more like, because I didn't really listen to, even when I was cutting Sean, I didn't even really listen to his music like that.
Okay.
I knew of him, but I didn't really listen to a lot of rap music. But I mean, I listened to Busta because that was kind of like my era.
Right, yeah.
So it was like, oh, that's cool.
What it is right now. Yes.
So yeah, it was like, it was cool because it was somebody that I had listened to. So I was like, oh man, but it's crazy because when I cut him, and I tell people this story, so I did stand-up comedy for a year. And that's a whole nother
Okay.
That's a whole nother conversation, but I used to tell the people this story, and I tried to use it on stage, but it just didn't jump the same. But my clients, when I first cut Buster, I go to the studio, I'm like, man, it's really Buster, that's cool. So I'm cutting him, I put my foot in the haircut. He was like, you know, wanted me to use a straight razor, but I was cool, but I wasn't like how I am now.
Confident with it, yeah, because you get a level of confidence.
So I cut him, I'm feeling good. I turn around to clean him up. He bleeding on this side of his face.
Oh.
So I was like, oh man. So I go try to get ready to fix it. I turn back around, he bleed on the other side.
Oh no.
So I was like, man, this is crazy. So I tell people, I had clients falling out the chair because, you know, by this time I don't know if you know about MacGyver, but he used to, back in the day, that was a television show. So
right.
I put some stuff together. He had like little stuff to stop the bleeding, and he had the little white marks on his face. And I was like, man, I felt horrible. Like, so he grabbed a mirror. He was like, yo, son. His haircut is banging, but my face is bleeding. I was like, oh, so it was, yeah, that was an experience. But from that point,
I bet you learned how to use that razor right. I know that.
I would say a few years in, you know, I tell anybody, he got me on my game.
Right.
Anybody that know me or they want to say shout out, if you ever see him,
shout out to Buster because he got you on your shaving with a straight razor game.
He got me right. Made me go back into the lab and get it right.
Right,
so
right.
He caught. I've been cutting him maybe like 10 years.
Okay.
So that didn't stop. The haircut saved me.
Right.
That part, you know, a learning thing, but you gotta, you know, and it was funny because the shop I was at wasn't really nobody using it like that. And I changed the dynamic of the shop, and everybody, like, they saw me, so they was, you know, I left that impression. But that situation really made me press and really find out what I did wrong. because they teach you that in school, but
of course.
And this is one of the things.
This part, you're supposed to hold the razor this way.
And it's not just that; it's a lot of different techniques.
Yeah,
and this is what Beyond the Comb. I thank Rhonda for the opportunity because I'm gonna be able to take my experience with a lot of things and show people the stuff they're not really showing you in school.
Right, definitely.
So technical.
The continued education.
The continued, yeah, and not the YouTube version, but the real live, hands-on, but experience. Exactly. So Busta, been cutting him. He hooked me up with Khaled. I was cutting DJ Khaled for a little while. Rick Ross, I cut him once and his people, and then from that point, I met a guy named Pooh Bear. He's a writer.
Pooh Bear, what a name.
Artist. Yeah. So look him up if you don't know him. I mean,
he reputable.
Yeah, very. he worked with everybody, including Big Sean.
Okay.
So that's how I met Sean.
Okay.
So, and from that situation, we went from, that was a good 3-year run. Okay. And that's when I started traveling and, not that I had never traveled, but as an adult, traveling and
with the artists.
With the artists and going around, and it didn't happen in the beginning. It was, something that an opportunity.
As his brand grew.
Yeah, because I asked him, he had never done that, like taking a barber.
Oh, okay.
So I think I was the first barber.
We say you think.
I don't want to put that out there, but I think I am the first barber that actually was his barber that traveled with him.
Okay.
Because he had barbers around different cities. He didn't need to take anybody. So I think I was the first person that got that. So shout out. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
But it was cool. Good experience, learned a lot, got a chance to learn a lot from the industry side, finance, money side, and know your stuff.
Right.
If you don't, you're gonna learn the hard way. So I learned that with Busta too, just taking the hits, not knowing.
Right.
You gotta know the business, know the game, and understanding that. And like I've always told barbers, know your worth.
Yeah.
Not in the industry or not in the industry.
Right.
Know your worth as a barber in general.
Right. And I think when you start to master those skills within yourself, you start to recognize your worth, because you start mastering those skills and you're like, some people already have the skills and they don't realize they have them.
But you can, just sometimes it's an opportunity, that you put yourself in, like Los, what up, boy? We used to work together, and he left the shop we was at and was able to go to another shop that was charging more money.
Right, that was a legend.
Yeah, so he was able to transition from, and that's how a situation, you can come out of school and go to a shop that's charging 60 or 50 or whatever, or you can go to a shop that's charging 15.
Right.
So that's things that you got to look into in regards to that. But in between there, you still, once you start to evolve, you need to know your worth and know your skills so you can, if you get in these situations, entertainment or with a artist or whatever, you can, put yourself at a standard as far as pricing.
That's what I was going to say. So people like that, do you usually charge them more, or do you charge them what Armani would come in and pay? Do you charge, do you usually charge them more?
Well, a lot of times because it's a different level, I mean, you can charge more sometimes. I mean, it's just an individual thing, but everybody's different. I mean, I've seen basketball players come in the shop and drop $200 or $300, or they could be like, here, I drop 40.
Right. Right.
So it's just.
So you don't put a price on it, or?
Well, I mean, it depends on your situation, but generally on the entertainment side, because they know that the standards are higher, it's just it's like automatic. It's not that you have to or don't have to. It's just part of the protocol. It's just what it is. It's not, you come into that and they know.
Oh, okay.
Because the standard has already been set. Now, is it more of a fair or unfair thing? I mean, I haven't investigated that. So to some people, it might say, oh, well, that's not fair. Why? And you might have some people that say, I'm just charge whatever. But
right.
if the standard is already set, that's like saying I'm gonna go to this shop that charge 50, but I'm just gonna still charge what I was charging over here because, you know.
Because that's my mentality or the way I think.
So if it's something that's already set, then, you know, you just go with it.
Okay.
Now how you handle it is, because there are levels in that as well. You got some people that deal with celebrities and they might charge 500. Some might charge 250, 150. Some people just might do 75. You know, it just depends on the individual.
Okay.
But I tell people, barbers, you know, barbers don't really have an understanding like a lot of times with the business because they allow the people to control your destiny or your future or your business. Because in 1955, haircuts was $2.
Right.
So if you do the math, come on, like, how you get mad if somebody tell you it's more than 25 or it's more than 40? I came into business where everything was a service. Mustache was a price, the beard was a price, the haircut was a price, you know, everything cost. Now it was like somehow it came to this a la carte. I mean, this combo deal when it was never like that.
Right, when the haircut and the shave is supposed to all go all together.
The razor is a separate price, and some people still do that. But, you know, you got to understand, like, you yourself, you are self-sufficient. So I'll ask people all the time, you got a job, right? Okay, so you get 2 15-minute breaks and a lunch. So I can't take a lunch. You get a raise every so often, or you leave a job and go to another job because you want more money. So who's gonna give me a raise?
Right.
But me.
Yes. That's for sure.
You know, and they say, oh man, I'll be bringing you clients. Dude, you ain't on the corner with a sign like Liberty Tax, flipping signs like, hey, go see my boy. You get a haircut, I give you a service. People like your work. I mean, will like the haircut, and you know, you
That's
refer
what brings you your business.
Yeah, so if I raise my prices, I've been coming to you for years. I get that. And some people you gonna work with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? In certain situations, but overall, you have to set a standard to say, hey, you know what, at a certain point, this year or every so often, I'm gonna $1, $2, you know, something, you know.
Definitely.
You gotta do it for yourself, because if you don't, you're just gonna be stuck.
Right. So I know you didn't want to talk about the coronavirus. I know you didn't.
The pandemic.
And I know y'all tired of hearing about the coronavirus. The pandemic. But it's here. It's here. It ain't going nowhere.
Oh,
but with the spin that I wanted to talk about the coronavirus was Nancy Pelosi. What do you think? Did you think anything with her going into the salon, even though we already know the governor straight up said everything is closed?
No.
And she went into the salon and she got her hair done. She said she was set up.
Which now, is
this is Nancy Pelosi, the Secretary of State. So we got the president, the vice president, then we got the secretary, third in charge. If Donald dies, then Pence. If Pence dies, it's Nancy.
I might have missed that story, so maybe you can refresh me on what happened.
Okay, so Nancy was caught. Somebody filmed her. Mind you, she got Secret Service. So anytime they come into a place, they already done debugged everything. But she said she was set up and somebody filmed her getting her hair done. Getting the whole shampoo, the color, everything in the salon. While everything is supposed to be shut down.
Okay.
Third in charge.
Okay.
What do you think? How does that make you feel when you know that other people have literally shut down their shops, they're not able to work? Actually, some of them are probably going through financial strain, but yet you got her just exercising her power saying, I'm gonna go in here and get this done anyway.
Well, I mean, she's not the only person exercising her power. I mean, come on now. I mean, everybody mad at Trump. Like, why you mad at Trump? Trump worked for somebody just like we do.
Right.
He ain't, I mean, See, that's what you gonna get me started on this. They gonna come looking for me.
But, we just having conversation. They ain't coming looking for you.
I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, everybody got it. Everybody got an agenda.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody got a plan. Everybody doing what they do. So if somebody want to film and say, oh, was she in there with 1,000 people? I mean, what was going on? I mean, well let's talk about.
You didn't really see nobody in there. No, she was social distance. She was following protocol.
I mean, what's the difference with Wuhan, China having a big pool party where that's allegedly where it all got cracking? They just had a whole concert, a festival. You worried about one person getting their hair done? Like, what about the, even the lady, the mother and daughter that got all those fines because they was going from Airbnbs they was still trying to work.
Yeah.
No, they was working.
Oh, they were
It was
working.
a mom and, I don't know if you read it, so they called it the underground barber. And I don't know if you've seen that article. There was an article in the newspaper. It was called the underground barbering, and it was a whole story about, it was like a mom and a daughter. They got caught up, they got fines, they got shut down, had to go to court because they were still working. They was actually, I think it was them and there was some other people that were going like different Airbnbs.
Because their salons weren't open, they would literally go rent out these Airbnbs and cut hair.
People had to do what they had to do.
Right.
I mean, I started off being mobile in the beginning, just even before I got in the shop.
So you saying that it's a survival of the fittest thing?
Yeah, I mean.
She's just trying to survive.
But I mean, as far as their hair, I mean, some people can go and be like, I'm gonna just gut it out. And some people was like, no, I want to get it done. Like,
Right.
And I mean.
Because she got a certain image that she gotta.
But going back to the lady, she probably just wanted her hair done. Who knows how long it had been? I mean, as you can see.
She had a lot of new growth there. I mean, she had a lot of new growth.
At the end of the day, I mean, they like, well, you got the virus is killing people. What about the people that have been dying from secondhand smoke and cigarette smoke and cancer and all this other stuff? Right. They told it. I mean, what about what was the Ebola and what was the anthrax?
SARS and
Don't get your mail.
Right.
What happened to that?
Right.
What happened to just regular being sick? Like, why is everything COVID?
Right. Yeah.
Like, the numbers ain't even right. The numbers, black people ain't been believing the government for years. Now all of a sudden, they flex their muscle and be like, oh, you gotta believe that it's the virus, and people's on the news and just like, oh my God, like it's the control. They control you.
Right.
So you wear the mask, stay away from your family, your friends, don't hug nobody. Like really? So if something happened and I can't, then you got the people like, oh, you one of those. No, you one of those.
Right back at you.
How about you, or you got a such and such. And I said, yeah, people been dying though.
Right.
For years, this ain't like something new. People been dying,
So you feeling like people not seeing the big picture of life, period?
When Donald Trump came into office and people were so irritated, I said, that was just it's an agenda, and I said, that's just a distraction.
Right.
For whatever they got going on, I don't know. But I'm not mad at Trump. Like, he just a man, get a job.
Right,
I mean, Hillary should have won if you want to be technical, but he didn't. They brought him in.
Well, I think for me, Trump has really pulled the wool off a lot of this stuff. Because at first, I guess people was kind of thinking that for some reason that racism didn't exist anymore. I don't know why they was thinking that, but they was kind of thinking that because the way that they're acting like, oh, he's bringing this out in people. I feel like it was already there. How could you bring something out that wasn't there already?
Just like the killing been there.
Right.
I mean, if you really want to go deep, black people used to enslave their own people. Way before we was enslaving our own people.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But people don't look at that. They don't know. They're not going to tell you that because they want to keep everything going. Like, no, we used to enslave our own people, killing our own people.
But I think it was about, when you talk about slavery, you're talking about just working, basically. Somebody was working for you.
I mean, it's still a slavery. I mean.
But the way that America has done slavery is more of an oppression of a certain
it's always been like that. It's always
people.
been oppression. It's always been a lower grade. It's always been a push down of a people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't really get too caught up in that aspect of the color. I mean, because at the end of the day, a lot of I ain't gonna say a lot of, it all starts from the beginning. It starts from birth. It starts from home. It starts from how you were brought up, how you raised. If you got a daddy, if you don't got a daddy.
Right.
With in all.
Right.
So a lot of stuff you're dealing with is, I mean, with people that didn't have both their parents.
Right.
Or the daddy wasn't there, or he was there, but he wasn't really there, or whatever the situation was. It was, so,
Learned
I mean,
behavior.
it all, like, kids don't know color.
Right.
You know, but I mean, it is a lot of stuff that needs to be changed in regards to how things are viewed, because if I was that 17-year-old kid with a rifle walking down the street, I would have been dead.
Right.
So, but, you know, or a lot of these other incidents where people of other color are getting passes to be able to do stuff. But I don't get caught up in that, because a lot of things that they show us, we don't really know the whole story.
Right.
So somebody
and the media gotta make their money.
Yes, somebody asked me like about the guy that got shot in the back.
Right.
And I was like, well, why would you put yourself in that situation?
Right.
Well, he didn't have to shoot him that many times. No, I'm not saying he had to shoot him.
Right.
But why would you put yourself in that situation for anything to happen? Regardless, I mean, I don't care about what he was doing, where he was going. Like, if you on this side of the car, and you got guns pointed at you, why you gonna keep moving when they telling you to stop?
Right.
Just stop.
Right.
Well, that's wrong. They had to shoot him. We just tired. If you got any sense and you get pulled over, just cooperate. Come on. I mean,
Right.
Keep it simple.
It ain't hard.
It ain't hard. But you pulling out your phones and you.
But it's still. I must say, you gotta know that within that it's still some hate within those people that have those jobs, and they do abuse their power.
But it started from, it was
they
put in them.
do abuse their power.
It was that, a lot of it was put in them. They didn't just get born and was like, I'm about to
But they don't
hate.
get a pass for it though.
No, I'm not justifying any actions as far as racism or, you know, wrongdoing, unnecessary killing. I'm not justifying none of that.
Right.
I think you know, if you got a job to protect and serve, you should handle it.
Exactly.
But also at the same time, we have a responsibility too to handle ourselves.
Right.
You know, as a people.
That's true.
So, you know, I mean, if you want to protest peacefully, you know, if that's what you want to do, that's fine.
What about if you don't want to protest peacefully?
Then.
What if you want to get them back?
Who are you getting back?
The system.
How are you getting the system back?
How are you getting them back? Well, yeah, I mean, you taking stuff that you might not have been privy to having the abilities to afford it.
But I mean, is that really getting them back, or is that just like satisfying your mind to think that you're getting somebody back?
Well, I mean, like they say,
I mean, sometimes
that was the same thing that happened in Africa. They came and they stripped everything from Africa, looted it basically, still looting it. The diamond mines, all that stuff is still being looted to this day. But I feel like we have just been smoothed into being okay with certain mentality when it's not cool, especially being American citizens.
It's not, but I mean, if we ever really get to an understanding of who we are and what our abilities are and what we can do, instead of thinking that if we work together and you get 2 feet ahead of me, now I gotta get mad because you're 2 feet ahead of me.
Right, yeah.
As opposed to allowing you to say, oh, here, let me help you come up with me. And that's the sad part with us, is that a lot of us, we can't work together. We can, but a lot of us can't because the mindset.
Right.
And it's like we think that one person is getting more than somebody else, or, you know, we think that the situation ain't fair. That still owns it. why they don't want to own it no more.
Right, right.
That's the question. But if he don't want to own it, he don't want that responsibility. Why are we fighting for it? To say that that's our mall?
Right.
Like,
I think because it's something in our community, and it just seems that anything of value that we have in our community is usually like stripped away.
And it's true, but I mean, a lot of times. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Those are the things that bring value to communities. It's big malls like that, places that people can go and.
But when a lot of times I think and it's not all of our fault. I mean, it's just sometimes it's just how we were raised and how we were brought up in our environments. Mm-hmm. We're not able to. We want to say we want to keep something, but then when it's viewed in that's that mall.
Unvaluable way.
And then when you go in there, it's like nothing valuable. You know what I'm saying? And I understand, like, we want to keep something, and there's nothing wrong with that, but they've never let us keep anything. And then if we do, what does it look like? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't look like these other situations or these other communities that are here. We don't keep the same persona that a lot of these other areas keep, as far as the presentation and just allowing it to, and we don't stay together like that to keep it strong.
I think it's a systematic thing.
Yeah, it's definitely systematic.
But I think it's got a lot to do with
the
system of things, the way that they're set up, the way that people have certain privileges that other people might not have those same privileges.
Oh, yeah, for sure, most definitely. That's 100%.
So do you believe that having licensure is important? Like having that piece of paper, that one, that you gotta have posted when you're working. Do you think that's important?
Most definitely. I mean, it's not just important, it's legal. Uh-huh. It's illegal if you don't.
Right.
But it's definitely important. I mean, I played around for some years. I mean, under an apprenticeship. Uh-huh. And finally, the school, after 3, 4, I say really from like 94 to like 2004, 2005. Yeah, I was playing around.
Would you say you was playing
but
around?
I'm not really literally playing around, but under apprenticeship, you have to stay under that license, that shop. Right. And, I was like, if I didn't like something, I leave, and then I just go, and then I start over, and, just till finally the school was like, look, this is your last opportunity.
Right.
If you don't get your license now, then we're not going to allow you to go through the program. So on that last time, I was like, let me just go in and be serious and do whatever I got to do.
So do you, I mean, because, and I'm gonna start asking y'all this question, along with, do you believe licensure is important? Do you understand that having that license is only following the law? That license, or the Board of Barbering and Cosmetology, that the fees that are used for that license, the fees that are used for enforcement, everything that has to do with that license does not help the licensee?
Yeah.
You understand that?
That it doesn't help them.
It doesn't help you. So your fees that you're paying, it doesn't go back to you in any kind of way.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know that. It goes to just
enforcing the law upon
even the fines that they give you don't go back to you.
Right.
So I mean, is it important in a sense of, should I have it so I can get some benefits off of it, or? I mean, it's just part of the law, like having any other license.
Right.
So I mean, if it's going to help me, I mean, the helping me is me helping me. Okay. So I get this, whether you get a doctorate, whether you get an MD or driver, whatever it is that you need, license-wise, to be able to do what you got to do.
Right. So it's more of education as opposed to the actual license.
Now, if you want to say, like, does it really help you further, I mean, yeah, education-wise, yeah, but do we utilize what we learn? No, we don't. Most barbers get a license, they go cut hair.
Right.
Then they complain like it's slow, I don't got no customers, whatever, but you ain't never advertising the rest facials, the scalp manipulations, the color, the tint to light, the bleach, the permanent wave, any other stuff that we learn.
Yes.
That they teach you.
Right.
You don't learn that.
So most people, so what I'm hearing is that most people are really getting this licensure which the licensure is to do chemicals, to do your hair tints, to do your PD test, to use the razor for those particular things. But it seems like most people are really wanting to get into just cutting hair.
Yeah, or
and
just be able to work. Yeah, they know they need that.
Yeah, but you don't need that.
Don't need what?
If you're not using any chemicals, if you're just a natural hairstylist, you don't need a cosmetology license for that.
No, if you're just natural and you're just doing, but we talking about now, we're not talking about braiding or anything else or doing dreads or none of that. If we talking about now, you talking about using a tool. A razor, a clip, or anything, because you cut somebody, you need to know how to treat that.
Right. So infection control.
You need to know all of that. So you do need it in that sense, because if you don't know how to stop the blood or how to do anything to, to fix that issue, now you could put yourself in a deeper situation.
Right.
That you don't want to be in.
Exactly. And because we know we deal with blood-borne pathogens and stuff that, if we come in contact with, we can catch something from that person as well. We know that when we're dealing with that, we have to be able to handle that situation. And just being able to
educate your clients. And just, I heard a man he was 80. And he said, I'm still learning.
Mm-hmm.
That changed my whole thought process from that point. Because you can never stop learning.
Right.
Me even being in the business as long as I have, I'm still learning.
Right.
I can still figure out how to be better and different techniques and different things I can use, because why not?
Right. And then life is about learning.
Yeah, it's life.
Right.
Stay stagnant. That's why you're sitting in the same situation, because you don't want to grow.
Exactly. So lastly, Kahil, can you give us your social media contacts, and if somebody wants to come and get their hair cut, where they can hit you up to find that information out?
Get their haircut. That's
or just your social media.
But yeah, my social media is at KN Sledge 7. That's Instagram. I don't really use Twitter that much, but at KN Sledge 7. That's pretty much where you can find me.
You still mobile?
Yeah, I'm still mobile.
So they can DM you if they want to get their hair cut?
Do I really take clients new? Not really.
No new clients?
But, I mean, it depends on the situation.
Right.
But Hair Architects, Crenshaw Mall. You might be able to catch me there sometimes. But that's a shop, Not open yet, but hopefully. They say it soon, but we'll see.
Right.
But yeah, just catch me on my Instagram.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks so much for your interview. I appreciate talking to you.
Oh, all good. Thanks for pulling all my information, all my secrets out.
I was trying.
Even cosmetologists, entrepreneurship and knowledge, bringing all of this. Hey, we gon' take it beyond the chair.